Welcome everybody back to another episode of The Mind of Reese. I have an incredible human here today, Jio. I'm pretty sure you probably already follow her. If you don't, you should. And what I'm going to have her do is just introduce you. Introduce herself. And but before we do, I just want to say that this incredible human has been a part of my life for actually longer than we have been in program together. She was in my Scale Mastermind. But I actually knew her prior to another mentor that we both had. And that's kind of how we found each other. And she has always, I will say this out loud, but in full transparency, she's always pushed me to be a better mentor ever since she had came into my spaces and was a yes to Scale and was a yes to the arc. And it's like been such a treat to be up leveled in the way that I've been up leveled with her in my space. So I feel like this is a really deep honor of mine to have her here and just for you guys to get to know her better, what she's doing in the world and just how amazing she is. So Jio, please just introduce yourself to let everybody know who you are and all the yumminess that is you.
I'm so excited and so honored to be here. And so I am Gio. I am originally from Russia. I grew up in Portugal. I am an artist for most of my life, and I'm a tattoo artist for 12 years. And I think I'm known for a very specific, unique style within tattooing, which usually plays within lines. I mostly use line work, and I kind of flow between more chaotic and darker designs and more minimalistic designs. And I infuse them with my deep passions, which are spirituality, inner work, self-love, deeper human connection, and just like the emotional realms of being a human. And for a really long time, I infuse my tattoos with that because that's my other world that I really love besides tattooing. And because of doing all of that exploration on the side of tattooing, I've been feeling for a long time to start coaching and to start bringing educational content just in general. And this is how I found Reese. First, it was through this container that we were in with this teacher. And I was so excited because it's very rare that I'm in a coaching container and there's another tattoo artist. So I reached out and I was like, who are you? And and then soon after I joined the ARC and then Scale, and now we're here.
Yeah, and it's been a beautiful journey. I have to say, because when I first saw like your artwork, I was like, I was just like, oh gosh, she's in a league of her own. Like I'm sure when it comes to tattooing, it's like you're a part of the 5%. It's like the 5% of the industry
Mhm.
where you see a tattoo, you know who it is. It's one of those things where the art does say the name of the artist, which is something that I find is really it's like it's that's a really I feel like that's a very almost like the way you said it, it's like very embodied, deep embodiment work to even find that
Mhm.
level of depth of what it is that you can share outwardly and tangibly with the world. And once I saw that your artwork and can feel the artwork through the screen, I was like, oh my goodness, of course she needs to educate and of course she needs to teach. And of course, this is like her next step because this is her next evolution of deepening into her own passions and practices and things like this. And so I'd love to get into what it is that you teach and what it is that you coach on now that you have some containers open.
Mhm. I think I remember when we first talked and you were like, I think you told me something like, where are your things? I was looking like, damn, this girl, she has it all. Like, where are her containers? I want to know. And I didn't have so many. So, but now I do have some, and I'm really excited. I have 5 one-on-one coaching clients who are tattoo artists, and so what I really like is I actually took a coaching certification that is more based on love, sex, and relationships, and it has a tantric approach. So we do a lot of somatic work and inner healing work, and we bring inner child work and pillow talk and a lot of different very interesting modalities. And I'm a mom as well. I have a 2-year-old son. And I literally started that certification when I got pregnant. So my whole dream of like, I'm going to be a tattoo artist and then I'm going to be a coach for relationships and sexuality on the side, kind of changed. And now I decided to fuse them and to bring all of those skills into tattoo coaching and education. So how I work with my clients is give them some advice and tips and tricks and things, but it's also so many times we just realize that, for example, the reason why a client is not sharing or posting on social media is yet again because of a fear of not being good enough. So it always comes back to this inner work, and I'm so grateful that I can hold that and support them and guide them through that, because that's also probably my favorite part, to like really really get to see the beautiful vulnerability of a human and hold those tender parts. So that's the one-on-one coaching. And then I am also right now, I'm launching a masterclass. And this will be for tattoo artists and creatives who are looking for their unique styles. So basically trying to gather everything that I learned over these 12 years of narrowing down and defining and refining my style, and not like teaching, because I don't think that's my style. I'm not gonna tell like this is the step-by-step process on how you find your style, because obviously it's very different for everybody. So again, it will be a lot of inner work and understanding who they are, what their values are, and how to bring that passion and some kind of like inner fire into their art.
Yeah, okay, so there was a couple things in there that I really want to kind of expand upon. Um, what I love is that you had taken like a course, or you had been in a container when you were pregnant about relationship and love and sex, and this tantric approach to inner like healing and inner, I would say almost like self realization. And so with that, I mean, what I hear is that basically that's the journey that you're taking other artists on in order for their own self-realization to come to the terms of really creating their own style. Like, in the beginning of this podcast, I was exactly saying, I was like, you're the 5% of the people that is in the industry. I would say that you can look at a tattoo and know the artist versus see the artist and then be like, oh, there's their tattoo. And so that way it's like, that gives me body chills. I'm like, oh, how? So I kind of want to dive deeper into the somatic work that you take people on. Like, what is that? What is that? You said you mentioned something pillow talk, and I'm so curious. Please tell me, because like, I'm sure a lot of people are like pillow talk, like I'm talking, it's like I'm flirting with my boyfriend on the other side. So you gotta like tell me that you gotta teach a girl some new things in this podcast. I want to know.
Yeah. I actually haven't used this one yet with my current clients, but I love, love, love it. There's another term for it. It's called aspecting within the ISTA world. ISTA is International School of Temple Arts. It's a big organization that takes people through self-empowerment and sexual healing. And I first learned it there. And then Layla Martin, who is the one who does the coaching certification, she calls it more pillow talk. Or pillow work, or I don't know, because you use pillows, it's quite straightforward. You're not lying on them. So you put either 2 pillows or 3 pillows or 4 pillows. And as an example, let's say that something is coming up where it's like, let's say inner child. So you have an inner child something, and you're noticing that there's a part of you that feels like it's maybe stuck or feels insecure and has like doubts and worries. And so once we realize and understand that this is the inner child, then we can do this process, for example, where we put 2 pillows or 3, and then the client sits on one pillow and they look at the other pillow and they imagine their inner child projecting onto that pillow. and then they talk to it and they share something, or they wait and see what the inner child wants to tell them. Well, wait. So first they say something, and this obviously can take so many forms, but then they sit on the other pillow and they embody the inner child. So it's just like this simple exercise to embody different parts of you, or it can also be used to actually even embody a partner. So you can project a partner onto the pillow. If you have something unresolved with someone, you can project them onto the pillow, have a conversation. But the beauty of this is not just like you're having a conversation with someone in your head, you're actually, first of all, embodying it. So it feels a lot more somatic.
Mm.
And the other thing is that you can then embody them, which is something that many people struggle with, like, oh, I hate my partner because he did this, did this. But then, like, if you sit on that pillow, you're not just trying to see things from their perspective, but something very like alchemical happens where you might be saying things that you didn't expect you would say because you're embodying the energy of this other person, like the inner child or the partner. And it can be this really, really healing process. And sometimes there's more pillows because then you can have a witness who then saw this conversation and can tell you, oh, this is what I saw from this interaction. So it's very interesting.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And you know, actually the first thing that comes up, and I'm gonna ask you what you think about this, but the first thing that comes up is embarrassment. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, could I talk to a pillow and feel like this sense of like I feel like there's this sense of if someone was watching me, I'd feel really embarrassed and that I was doing this. So like how would you navigate, you know, helping someone move through that aspect of it? Would that consider, like, if I think about it, I'm like, would that still be considered my inner child? You know, is that part of me that wants to feel seen in a certain way? You know, and it almost like, I mean, it comes back to the whole realm of like, you know, you're my clients when it comes to like artists online. It's like how we want to be perceived, how we try to micromanage the way we're seen. And so it's like, even when you said that, I was like, ooh, this work actually might be really good for me because of the fact that I felt that first initial embarrassment. I was like, I don't know, Gio, if I could do that. And if you were watching me do that, I would feel a little silly. And but like you're like, what would you say to something like, how would you walk me through that?
Ah, mm. So I think first of all, it's not something I would do in the first sessions. I would definitely build trust with the person and really come to a place where they feel like I'm here for them. I'm not judging. I'm just really holding space. And I think like the other thing is really interesting that this comes up for you because that would be another thing that then we could bring into a session and be like, oh, interesting. Should we work on this or should we do pillow talk? Which one do you want to do? And then the other thing is like when this pillow talk is done, usually it comes a bit after a process. So like the person is already feeling some things inside and some things are coming up and they're kind of a little bit like in a meditative state. And then as they transition to the pillow talk, there's also a guided meditation to drop them into the body and like an opening of the container, especially if a person feels a bit insecure or unsafe. There could be even like a meditation to create a safe bubble and to really like protect your energy within that. And sometimes like you can also speak really low so that I don't hear, or even mute yourself just to, you know, really get into the flow. So there's many ways of going about it. But it's also really interesting if you do it the way I would suggest. And then after you would say, you know what, I felt quite uncomfortable because this and this came up. So and then that would be something really rich to look into.
Mm. Thank you, Gio, for that free mentoring session. Because like I was like, you know, if I'm feeling it, I'm sure someone else on the other side, me asking about this, I was like, you know what, why not just like bring it up and just be very transparent with you here? And I was like, yeah, I could feel that sense of, you know, and I think that that kind of leads back to, you know, what it is that you really hold and teach in these containers. It's like how we can overcome, you know, and I think that's the best thing I love about being a coach. It's like, it's really, there's so many aspects to coaching, but one of my favorite parts is like that limitless potential. Like for me, I love to call it limitless potential. It's just like that limitlessness that you have within yourself that really just drives you, and just I want to touch that. Like for me, it's like I just want to touch it. And I know since I can touch it, I know others can touch it. And I'm like, how deep can we go? And so this is why I love being an unconventional spiritual, mentor and guide, because it's at the end of the day, it's like this is really where the work comes from. It's like really diving in deeper. And so coinciding back to, what you do, it's like, yes, of course, there's, the branding and there, and which you do so well, but with, by the way, like I love your branding and the way that you show up in the online space. And I think it's just really clever and fun. And there's parts of it too, because even when I go into your branding, I'll go into your page and I'll see you, and then I'll see you like smiling or making jokes and stuff. And I'm just like, it just like opens my heart to you. And so it's this sense of like, yes, the branding, yes, the running your business and all this stuff, but literally comes back to the first part of it, which is what you say you really love doing, is holding space and really just being the guide. And in that, I feel like there's a lot of people out there that don't think that that's actually like I feel like in the tattoo industry, I think we're a little different. We've been in the coaching industry, we've done containers in coaching outside of tattooing. And so we see things differently. However, I do notice that within the tattoo industry, and I know that a lot of people here are tattooers that are listening to this podcast, it's like they're like, how is it that how do you guide people, and how do you actually monetize something like that, And so what brought it to you? Like what really like shifted for you when it came to the point that you were like, and I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but this is just how I'm thinking about the question, but maybe like how you felt worthy to monetize your knowledge, to monetize like what you know. Like when did that come up for you?
Worthy. I think it's interesting. I've been trying, or I've been envisioning myself teaching and coaching for so long. And I have thought about creating an online course for tattoo artists and for artists for probably 5 years now. I have notes from way back then, like, how do you find your artistic style? And then every time I would come up against something that would just like block me, or I would feel insecure, or I would see another tattoo artist. Oh, look, they also posted a course. Oh, look how much success they're having. Oh, look how many followers they have now. I can't do it. Or like, oh, look, now I'm gonna travel to South America. I don't have time to create a course. Like there would always be something, but I also know, I think it, and that's why I like the word worthy. I just didn't feel ready in many ways. And because I was in these two different worlds, sometimes it felt easier to imagine myself actually just doing a course on relationships or doing a course on conscious communication, because it's the coaching world. People are so used to it, And then in the tattoo world, it actually felt really scary, because the little few times that I actually tried to coach, I have a few like old videos on YouTube where I was like, hey guys, I want to teach tattooing. And like almost every single time I received hate. And so I feel like it is harder in the tattoo industry to actually step in and embody the identity of an educator and a coach, because of just, I think, this collective understanding and trauma around how much it's unaccepted and even frowned upon and hated sometimes. So for me, it was like a balance of like, I think I'm ready. I think I feel grounded enough. I think I'm like, oh, things are just, firing up inside me, and I feel like they're ready to burst. With a combination of having already experienced enough hate that like, I think I also can handle more. I'm fine. I've been through it. Whatever. And in this specific scenario, it was really like finding you and having someone who I see who has already paved the path, who is on such a similar journey, and you're not just a tattoo educator, with which I've been following many educators, but the fact that you're also spiritual, the fact that you bring all of this flavor into your work, which is just like, oh my God, this is perfect. This is like so amazing. And I think I really can say that like having your support and having the support of the scale community especially, just I felt so held and I felt so at ease. Like in my mind, if whatever like a thought would come up, oh, I posted this, what if some hate will come up? I would be like, I'll be okay. I'll just go into the scale Telegram and I'll share it and they'll hear me and they will love me and I'm gonna be okay. So it's a little bit like that, just like a maturity. I feel like I've had planted a lot of seeds, and I think some people's trees grow faster. For me, it took a bit of time. It was growing, I was learning, and I think now my fruits are starting to ripen, and I'm starting to collect some fruits.
You just went down such a beautiful route too. And I just want to like, first, number one, you can even speak into this. Like, it doesn't actually get easier. It just becomes more easeful in the way that we walk through it. And another big thing is community. Like, oh my gosh, how, and this is what we're building. And the fact that it's like almost like the sense of like going back and forth with it. It's like, now that I have this community, I can be more fully myself, come back to the community, build this community over here as I'm in community. So it's like, even for me, when I first had thought to do this, I was very much like you. I was in rooms with people that hadn't like, they're like, oh, tattooing, cool. And I was like, yeah, the first thing I ever wanted to do, my first course that I wanted to do ever was I want to teach people how to meditate because I think that meditation will help them get better at their art because that's what it did for me. But I was like, how am I going to teach tattooers how to fucking meditate? Like, that was not a thing. Like, and so in my mind, I was like, well, what's the next best thing, And then it came to like the business aspect of it. And it's actually really beautiful because you did something that I wasn't able to do at the beginning, where you went straight into the somatic and you went straight into like the holding of the space. I had to come out of the spiritual closet a little slower because I was so scared. And so I was just like, that was my journey. I needed to own it. And I was in coaching containers with spiritual coaches, but it felt so different not to like they didn't understand our industry, it felt like almost. And I was like, am I thinking of this industry as something different? Is this a scarcity thing? We both go through this together, like, and we both have gone through this together. And I'm find myself, you know, I'm just like, is this it? But ever since, really opening up myself up to having community and building community, it has been, and especially in scale, like for me, I've said this with all of you guys, and it's been such transformative work for me too, as a mentor and as a coach. And like I said in the beginning, I'm not pulling, I'm not trying to like jerk your chain. It's very much in the realm of like, you've up leveled me to be a better mentor and coach. Like I show up better because you're in my spaces. And you are the type of person that I needed because you were that next level version of people I wanted to be around. And it was like, I felt like I had to show up even more so because there was this sense of like, oh my God, this not reliance, but more so of just this accountability. And that's what I love in community is that we have this sense of accountability to push us in a direction that we're like, this feels really crunchy, but at the same time, we've got each other's back. And I think that first, like you bring up community, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't believe that I would be in the position I'm in today without you and the scale people in it as well. So I thank you for trusting me and honoring me with your energy because that definitely, it goes both ways. And And I think that's what our clients do, like our coaching clients, it's what they really do. They up level us as well. And so it's like, especially when you find like like that right, super, super ideal, super soulmate. We have this running joke because she's like, I don't know how I feel about soulmate. But that's what I love about Gio. Gio is very spot on and she will tell you like it is. And she will tell you exactly what she's feeling. She's the vulnerability, like goddess. Like she knows she's about to tell you what she's feeling on the inside. And that's what I love about you so much. And so there's actually that kind of leads into the next thing I'd love to ask you about is like showing up in the online space in the way that you do. I mean, the just in the last few posts with lip syncing and like that character thing, I was like, it's so fucking clever. Again, the feeling in my body, I was like, I know I could do that, but I do feel a little like, how? Like I say how, but I know in my body it's like, okay, I got to do some inner child work here. Like I've got some inner work to do because again, with the micromanaging of how we want to be seen. And so tell everybody, really like the nitty-gritty of how it is to like overcome your own fears and what are like your processes prior, if you ever felt like, oh gosh, I'm gonna post this. Okay, I'm gonna post this, and then you gotta like kind of almost like initiate it. And I love you're laughing because it's true. It's true. And we all go through it. So give us your processes, give us a little insight on how Geo works.
Oh my God. It's so funny because I was literally thinking of creating an extra post, which is not because now I'm launching the masterclass, so I'm mostly talking about it, but then I felt it so alive as I'm like posting so regularly. I felt this and I thought I need to talk about it. And the post was going to be about like, guys, I've been posting since 2013. I have this many posts, I have this many followers, I have no. I still feel super nervous, insecure, doubtful. There's all of these things are still there. Every time I'm about to post, they're still there. Like they don't go away. They're still there. It's just like you said, it's not that it gets easier. You just kind of learn to be with these things and learn to calm yourself down, learn to like use a different voice inside to, encourage myself. Or yes, sometimes it's community. Like I made my most recent post where I'm like, I bring old tattoos and new tattoos, and I'm like, what did I say? Like how to go from this to this, from this to this. And I had this idea and I told my friend, I was like, I think I'm gonna do it. And she's like, oh my God, you're gonna post tattoos, old tattoos? What if your old clients see it? What if they feel really insecure that you're comparing their tattoos to these tattoos? You are implying that these tattoos are better, right? And I'm like, and it's so funny because she's always like the insecure, she often embodies the insecure voice. And I'm like, oh my God, you're right. So I almost went down that path. And then I was like, no, it's fine. Like it's normal for tattoo artists to evolve and for the style to evolve. And it's obvious that it did get better or it changed, and I'm just sharing how to go from this and I do like this, like it's good. I'm not like to it's like to I don't know if this makes sense just on a as a podcast. But and then the next day, it's funny because first she embodied the insecure voice, and then the next day I was like, I did it, I did the reel. I think, do you want to watch it? She's like, post it, and then I'll watch it. And I was like, what? Post it now? And she's like, yeah, post it. And I'm like, oh shit. I was like, okay, then and it's funny because I was gonna probably procrastinate for a bit longer and I was not gonna post it. I was gonna refine it. I was like, okay, I'll post it. And then I posted it, and it's so funny because I was already feeling insecurities and the post is doing so well and she loved it, and it's, the people are really resonating with it. So it's just really funny, this constant process. And for me, like with the lip syncing and the character and like embodying characters, I love that personally. I don't know if it's for everyone. Like I wouldn't tell all my clients to do it. I think it, whenever I've seen videos like that, I would be like, oh my God, I love that. I want to try that because I think as a kid, I also had a dream of being, it would be either an artist or an actress. So I
Mhm.
think it fulfills my inner child's, desire to be an actress, and I can be like, ooh. And I think it's just really engaging and it's fun. And I think what's really smart about it is because if you if you have two parts of you in a video and it's not just one, it's easier for people not to take things personally. I don't know if that's what I noticed because it's like it's not really you who's saying the things. It's like this this personality and this personality, and then they can agree with one or with another. They don't have to fight you. I mean, they can fight, but I think that's something I noticed in some of the reels where I embodied my younger self who was looking for an apprenticeship, and then I dressed up as this like older tattoo, big bellied guy.
I remember that
Who
one. That was so
rejected.
good. I was dead. I was fucking dead. It was
Yeah. And like he rejected my apprenticeship, and he really had like a very judgmental face, and people were taking sides. They were like, oh, I understand his point, and other people, and it was so nice because like I mean, I am her, but I'm not her anymore. This was a younger part of me. This is this guy. It's also not really him. And somehow it creates an interesting different engagement from the normal posts.
Mhm. And it's something that you really, really hit home for me. And that just like it clicked for me as to why I would. It's because you're the little girl in you is just excited to fucking play. Like that part is like we take our shit so seriously, like so seriously. And you literally just hit it. I was like, epiphany when you said that. I was like, hello, she just wants to play a little bit, like go out there and use like that sacral pole just to have fun, and just do something out of the normal that, and of course, what's so good about it is that this is what I love about social media is that there's two parts to it. Like you're doing it strategically. It's very strategic. We're not just willy-nilly putting shit out there because, we understand how to run a business. You are
Mhm.
an entrepreneur, spiritual entrepreneur. You know how to like run a business like a CEO is like how I like to look at it. It's like we're thinking strategically and structurally. But then there is also this aspect of healing. You're like, I'm just letting my inner child be seen and she wants to play. And this is how I integrate her into more of the play aspect, the more wild child, the
Mhm.
wild thing, and I think that as artists, we need more of that. Like, we come into this industry with this idea of like, oh, we're going to draw on people for a living. And we think that's so cool. And then it is. And then it becomes like a job. And that's what happens. It becomes a job. It becomes something that no longer, sometimes it like we lose the spark of why it's no longer fun because we've gotten to these rhythms of ways of doing things that kind of get stuck in a way that's not innovative anymore. And so we're just kind of like 9 to 5ing it. Instead, we're like not really 9 to 5ing it because we're working a lot longer hours and we're not leaving our work at home or at the shop. We're taking it home with us, right? So it's like, so we're actually working a lot longer and it's still an employee to the business. And so it's like this play aspect, I think, is really beautiful because like it kind of like brings out more of this like creativity. And I think what I love about it is that it is very much the embodied aspect. It's like you're utilizing your body to kind of play these different roles, to do the lip syncing, I mean, the one when you did the apprentice and the shop owner, I loved that. I watched that like probably 50 times because I just had it on and I was like making notes on it, I think on something, I don't know what it was. And I was just like, this is so brilliant. Like, even though there's a part of us that feel like for me, oh gosh, could I do that? Like, could I take myself seriously enough? And you're like, no, but I love it because there's a part of me that just wants to play. And
Mhm.
kudos to you because like that it makes so much sense. Of course, I want to do it, but it's more so what's stopping me is what the judgment is versus, hey, I'm just going to play because it's good for my soul. And I think
Mhm.
that that's where like that's where I feel like you really you are like an expert at that because it's like it that comes through in your artwork, it comes through in your tattoos, it comes through in your content art. Like I look at content as art. I'm like, you get to be super creative in content and you can see how it all like how it's all connected with you, how you utilize that embodiment work to just allow yourself to be seen and to play and to have fun and to create these like beautiful things that are super meaningful. So even in the last like
Mhm.
lip syncing one that you had done, it was really funny. But then when you read what you were saying, it was like, oh, she's talking about like this deep inner work, this embodiment work, having fun with talking about the unconventional side to her own creative, juju. It's basically what it is, like your creative mojo. And it's like, oh my God, she's literally like, I think that was just like, it's what's really clever about the way that you do things. And so, I mean, just case in point, you need to go to her master classes, you need to take her courses because at the end of the day, if I'm gonna get some mojo like that, like I'm all in. I'm all in, I'm all ears. And so just to before we end this on a beautiful note, and of course I'm gonna have Gio back because I would love to expand upon more. I think we just have such good conversation and I love having conversations with you. But I would love to know how we can find you. We're going to put all of her, if you guys want to follow, if you don't already follow, if you want to get in cahoots with any of the things that she's doing, whether that be getting a tattoo by her or getting mentored, we'll have everything in the show notes for you guys. So you can get there, but we would love to know what's up next for Gio. And I'm so excited to announce that she is joining us for another 6 months of scale. So it's so exciting to be with you for a full fucking year. Like, what an honor and a treat. I can't, like, I was talking to Hannah, who also was in scale, and she said the question, she said something like, where would I be a year from now if I ended up taking this program? And I was like, what a clutch thing. And I'm like, well, I get to do that with Gio. So I get to see where she's going to be a year from now. So that's like so exciting for me. But I would love to know what's coming up. What's up next? Like, what are we declaring into the world of like what's happening next for you?
Oh my God, this is not this is hard, but it's hard because so many things that you just said. I was like, oh wait, I want to jump in. I want to expand on
Oh,
that. Oh, I
let's
want to expand on that. Oh wait, I want to ask you a question. But I understand. I think it's true that I could literally, yeah, talk about this for a very long time and like open tunnels into other topics.
but I want you to riff. So whatever feels good and nourishing in this moment, the floor is yours. So talk on all the things.
Okay. No, I think just one thing came up to me is like I was really interested to know what judgments are you scared of if you were to play like that in your reels? Like, what are you scared of?
Ooh, okay. Okay, guys, this is gonna be longer today. We're gonna go for it. And that is okay. We're definitely have a part two of this. So the judgment. So I find myself, especially in a position, and this is such a good question. And I love you so much for asking because it's making me be honest, right? Transparency and vulnerability, where I'm in a position where I've been a coach for we're moving on to 5 years now. And this year was the year I declared that I'm moving more so into the coaching versus doing both. So I cut my tattoos down by a lot, a lot more over half. And which has been really, really, of course, sticky because I'm no longer the identity of tattoo artist. I'm taking the identity of entrepreneur because I run a shop, I tattoo, and I do all these things. Like I have many different ways that I, you know, put my creativity out in the world, serve my people, and monetize that. And I'm just like, I'm an entrepreneur. Like I'm an octopus. I get that from Charity. She calls herself the octopus. You know this. And so it's one of those things where I'm like, I'm not just a tattooer. I'm this other thing. And shifting from that identity, I think I've find myself sometimes being really serious about
Mm.
what I'm putting out there, and is this nourishing, and is this serving my community, and is this, and I found myself feeling that when you said, I just let my inner child play. And I was like, oh God, I needed the reminder. I needed the reminder of that. And it's because of the fact that that judgment, that aspect is because I'm like, are they going to take me serious
Mhm.
as a coach and an educator and a mentor in this industry? And it could be so easy. And I know that for me, I'm going to expand upon doing more creative entrepreneurs and not just tattooers, but it could be so easy for me just to like shift that now, because I know that entrepreneurs take our work as educators, coaches, and mentors differently than the tattoo industry. But just because it's hard doesn't mean I shouldn't do it. And so I know that I'm in this area of having to be reminded of all these things like play and it's okay, and letting your inner child shine and having that sacred pull and just being pulled by that part of me that just feels like fun. Like, let's just have some fucking fun with this. Like, we're building a business. Like, it's not like I'm like doing rocket science or doing like heart open surgery, right? Like, I want to have a
Yeah.
little fun doing this. And so that's basically, I realize like that judgment doesn't come from, really like anything outside of me. It comes from me. Like, there's a part of me that wants to be taken so seriously as an educator and as a coach. But at the same time, that's actually where I end up stunting my growth because I'm not allowing any more play. So that's where you
Mm.
came in and just shined the light on that and really like opened my mind and reminded me that play is actually really important for business.
Mm. And you also talk so much about magnetism, no? And how like
Mhm.
when you're in your juicy self, and I feel like that is so much part of it. Like if
Mhm.
you're just allowing yourself to play and you already came out as a spiritual entrepreneur. So yeah, I think, it's a inner child is so part of it,
Mhm.
of being a spiritual being and accepting all parts of us. And then that is also so magnetic when you're just like allowing all of that to flow. Oh, I
Mm.
love that. Thank you for sharing.
Oh no, thank you for asking. That's a great, because it's like you said before, it was like we all have the doubts, we all have the thing. Like, we're going through it. Like, it's
Yeah.
I'll look at videos from past and I'm like cringe. Like, and it's like, of course, so it's one of those things that it's just, I think again, like it comes back to being in community, like you said, it's just like we need the reminders. We just need sometimes to get out of the tunnel vision and remember that like, hey, like there's all the whole world and that we're one little blip of it. Like, why not live it to the fullest? Why not play into the fullest? And exactly like you said, like the most magnetic part of you is just you being you. So yeah.
Mm. Mm. I also needed to hear that today, like the whole child, even though I'm bringing that topic, but I needed to hear it myself.
We're like our own coaches, but that's like the best part. You have to like you learn, and I think that's the best part about being an educator. It's that like we can, our students, the people that are in our containers, like they can graduate and they can leave and just be done. But at the end of the day, it's like this is the difference between like educator, coach, and mentor. It's like mentoring really at the end of the day is just like the reminders. Like, I'm mentoring you, you mentor me. It's like this is what gets to happen because we just need those reminders. We already embody it, we know it, but sometimes we get in our own way. Like that's just the way it goes. And so that's why I know I will never be without mentorship. Like I love it and I live and die by it. And so it's one of those things where of course, like, people will, and when once people get a taste of it, it's just like, oh yeah, of course this makes so much sense. And so yeah, like that's why I love the
Mm.
coaching industry so much. So much. And I love being a part of that evolution of people just doing big fucking things and reminding themselves that they're super capable.
What's coming next? So I am launching this free masterclass. It's a 3-day masterclass for tattoo artists and creatives and visionaries who are both looking for their unique style, but also it's very much around for those who are feeling that they have something bigger to share, something more impactful, they want to make an impact, want to make a difference in the world. And so how to use your art, how to use your tattoos as a way to create waves of change, and how to create that style, how to create a style that is really one of a kind, that is really unique, that really stands out. And like you said, like somebody looks at it and is like, okay, that's them. So that's my intention, is to invite people into exploring that topic and really unlocking things for them that can bring them closer to finding their unique style and expressing their heart through their art.
Mhm.
So that's happening next week. I don't know when this podcast is coming out, but it's happening on the 12th, 13th, and 14th of June. And then the recordings will be available for a while. And then after summer, I will be launching like a full-blown course on the same topic, but it will be really going deep. There will be a lot of community for that. It will be an ongoing course that is over several months, and this will be very much in depth. So if this sounds interesting to anyone listening, you can just find me on Instagram, follow me there, see what I'm up to, subscribe to my artist newsletter, where I'll update you more on whatever is happening for me at the moment. And I'll probably be taking some more one-on-one coaching clients soon as well. I want to share. I just want to say, like, how for me it came so timely, like I said, because I had planted so many seeds and I felt like I was ready already for a while. And this just came in such a perfect moment. And for me personally, like, it wasn't even so much about the teachings that you offered, because I knew so much of that. It was really the community and having access to you and to the other people on Telegram. As you know, I used that feature so much. I was probably the most active there, which I had to do some inner work on as well, of not feeling like I'm too much or taking too much space, but it just felt so good to bring my things, to ask questions. Like, I think even just knowing that I have access to you and your knowledge, it made my mind and my brain think about all the questions, like, oh my God, and what about this? And what about this? And I would just like bring all of my excitement, all my like, yeah, all of the questions there. And I love how you I love how you responded, and just with so much care and so much attention and so much honesty and transparency. That part for me was really, I think, what inspired me to take the first actions of getting my first one-on-one clients, and now doing the mastermind and just launching it fully and feeling confident and inspired, and holding all of my insecurities through it. I'm just really, really grateful, and I'm excited for the next 6 months.
I know. I'm so excited and I love you so much. And I was like, I wasn't sure if you were still doing it, but I was like, oh, wasn't there one more thing that you're doing?
Oh, I forgot. Yes, it's true.
You want to meet her in person? Like, this is intensive. Like, come get
Yes,
magic in
yes.
person.
Yeah, I had this really, I mean, I will give credit to Deanna James. I took inspiration from her because she does these 1 day or 2 day seminars, private seminars. And I thought, oh my God, that's brilliant. And I've been feeling for a while that I like, as I'm tattooing, I'm like, oh my God, what would it be like to have someone right here? And I could just tell them all the things. It's like such waste. I mean, it's great, I'm tattooing, but I wanna share. And I thought for a while of getting an apprentice, but it didn't feel right to me at the moment. So right now I'm offering these opportunities to come and meet me in Barcelona for one day where you get to meet me in the morning, you see how I prepare the tattoo, how I do everything, you watch me tattoo, ask me all the questions your heart desires, and then in the end of that, I can also coach you on whatever you're needing help with, and also opportunity to go through your Instagram or through your work and give you feedback. So that's another thing that I'm definitely offering. And also, quick thing, because you did ask for the future, I do intend to also, my dream is to create retreats for tattoo artists, for creatives, for artists, for humans who are just ready to, I think I just want to create a ton of retreats for people to experience deep transformation, to learn how to learn or not to learn, to remember how to connect to others authentically and vulnerably, and how to open their hearts and be in deep communion with oneself and with others. And yeah, that's, I think, my big vision. And I have so many. I don't know. I could talk for a long time. I want to do
I feel
retreats and
you.
workshops and online courses and everything. Big empire. Like,
Vampire is right. Well, like the way that I look at this too, Gio, which I think I would prefer to happen sooner rather than later, is to do a retreat somewhere out there and have you do all the somatic stuff as well. And just like have you come in. If that feels nourishing for
that would
you,
be
I would
amazing.
absolutely enjoy that. I'll just put that out to the ether so everybody can just be on the lookout for something like that. Cause we're about to get into the retreat and I'm already so nourished by it before it's even started, just getting people here
Um,
and seeing people. So I know how you feel when it comes to like just being in community, especially like minded community is like, it's such a fucking vibe. You're like, oh, this is it. This is the work. This is why I do everything. Oh my God, we got more, we need more. And so for me, it's like, yeah, like like I would love to get in cahoots and have you come and do all
that would
all
be
the yummy,
amazing.
juicy way you would run the somatic aspect to the retreat and really just use your knowledge and have your wisdom there. And I think it would be a lot of fun to do it together.
Do some pillow talk.
You know what? You're gonna have to teach me that. I will do it. I will absolutely. I'm a brave soul. So I'm always like, I'm willing to always put myself in a position that's gonna be different for me. So I like it a lot, honestly. And there's no mute button there. So I can definitely just speak to my
Oh
inner
yeah.
child that way. And I love it. All right. Oh my God, Gio, I love you so much. Thank you so much for doing this for me and just being on the podcast. And of course, everybody, you'll know that she'll be coming back because there is so much to unpack. Like I feel like we could have talked for another 2 hours. So thank you again for coming and